We made $100,000 on this deal. The other issue is that these lots are huge. There was buckets of human feces outside in the backyard. My name is David Hall. I'm the owner of Achieve Real Estate. I'm a full-time real estate investor here in Lansing, Michigan. I own houses, I flip houses, I own rentals, apartment buildings, and I primarily use other people's money to fund all of my deals. Today I wanted to bring you into this house here. This is the biggest flip that we've ever done. We made $100,000 on this deal, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about how it all came to be. I got a call from a wholesaler out of the blue. It was a Florida number, came through, and they asked if I was interested in touring a house. So every time I say yes, I came and looked at it. It met our metrics, so I sent an email out to our list of private investors. I was able to get an investor on board to fund the entire project, and it began. From there, we had to come in and do our normal renovations that we do to every project, all new paint, all new flooring. This one was actually not too outdated, so we didn't have to do a ton of updating things, but there was a little bit of everything that needed to be touched here. So whether it was repairing windows, replacing outlets, we did pretty much an entire cosmetic rehab on this. We spent over $100,000 on the renovation in this property, and it turned out great. I think it turned out probably the best as any of our projects ever have. It's a beautiful 3-bedroom, 3-bath, here in Delta Township. Granite countertops, all new cabinets, stainless steel appliances. The soaking tub was quite the challenge because the original jacuzzi tub that was in the house when it was built was actually cut in half by the previous owner. So we had to do something creative with that space, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out with the soaking tub and the accent stone around it. The way we got this deal, I'm going to dig into a little bit because it was kind of crazy. Upon walking up to the house the first time, the seller wouldn't let us in. He said, I was talking to someone else on the phone and now you're showing up. I'm not sure who I'm dealing with, so you can just leave. And so I tried talking with him a little bit. I felt like he was getting a little hostile, so I gave him my card and said, I'm local, I can come anytime, call me if anything changes. So a couple days later, he calls me and says he no longer wants to work with the wholesaler that introduced us in the first place, but he would meet with me. So I came to the house and I walked into something I was not expecting. Every single thing in the entire house had been taken apart. So the windows, the cranks had been taken apart, the appliances had been taken apart, the plumbing fixtures had been taken apart, some of the plumbing had been redirected. The jacuzzi tub was taken out of the master suite and put into the master bedroom, and he had used a vacuum hose to drain it into outside. There was buckets of human feces outside in the backyard that the neighbors alerted us to. There was holes all over the room, all over the living room here, with extension cords going everywhere. He was using solar power. The utilities were turned off. It was crazy, and it was stacked from floor to ceiling with stuff, not trash, but just stuff. So there was bicycle parts, there was go-kart parts. The guy that lived here was kind of a genius. He had built a solar-powered lawnmower that would mow the lawn for him, which was crazy. So the house was in rough shape, but the yard was in good shape. It was just a very strange thing to walk into. But I love this area. The house was priced right, and the seller was motivated. The reason he was selling, he was behind on some property taxes, and that was a situation we were able to help him out of, because had we not come and bought it, he might have lost the property to foreclosure. So he was able to get out of the house, put some money in his pocket, and move into a better situation, and we were able to come in and kind of undo everything that he did, and then also upgrade everything at the same time. So there was holes cut in the floor that we had to patch. There was most of the flooring was missing or damaged. The railing here was ripped down, and we were able to upgrade it to something even better. It was a combination of the right rapport that I was able to get with the seller, the right motivation from the seller, and then my team of private investors that were able to come and fund this deal and make it all possible. And now here we are 4 months later. We're closing on it tomorrow. The furniture's getting picked up tomorrow. So everything just went really well on this one. I'm really proud of how things turned out. So let's talk numbers. This one we purchased for, I believe, $230,000, and that was fully funded by a private investor in my private investor group. So let me know if you want to get added to that list. If you're interested in investing some of our deals, we can add you to our buyer or our investors list. So we got it funded, and I drastically underestimated the amount of rehab we would need. Once we got into it, we didn't realize how many things were taken apart and couldn't be fixed but needed to be replaced. So for example, the furnace, during my initial walkthrough, I looked at the furnace, said, all right, it's only 15 years old. I'm assuming it's running, so I won't put that on my budget list because the house was fairly new. Come to find out, it had been taken apart completely on the inside and no longer functioned. We hired an HVAC guy that we normally use. He came and looked at it and said, this cannot be repaired, it must be replaced. So that was unfortunate. Same with the plumbing. I assumed we have copper plumbing. I assumed that most of the drains and things were in place. Come to find out, they were either they looked good because they were missing in a lot of places that he had cut them out or reran them in ways that weren't to code. So everything we had to do a lot more than I expected. The total renovation time frame from start to finish, I think, was 4 months, and then we listed it and accepted an offer within a week or two of being on the market. And then typically in any real estate transaction, from accepting an offer to closing takes 4 to 6 weeks, and we're right on that timeline. So from start to finish, this project took about 6 months total. But because we had to do so much extra work, we ended up with a much better finished product. So rather than just a cosmetic flip where we maybe clean some of the fixtures, we ended up replacing everything. So since everything is brand new, new furnace, new central air, a lot of new plumbing, a lot of new electrical, I felt like that meant the market would demand a higher price. So we ended up listing it for a little bit more than we had expected, and it all worked out. The other thing that really worked in our favor was a week before we were going to list our house, another house that's very similar went up for sale 2 doors down, and they listed it at what I thought the comps were at for ours. But ours was brand new, theirs was dated, so it made the value of ours, the perception of our value, look even higher because everything was brand new, and ours was only $25,000 more than the one down the street that was the same layout, but everything was dated. So that worked in our favor quite a bit. This neighborhood is really unique, and so comping it was kind of difficult, which is why there was such a discrepancy between what I thought we would list it for and what we ended up selling it for. Part of the reason is because this neighborhood is a very small community without a lot of communities around it, which makes it difficult to find comps if there aren't recent sales in that neighborhood. The other issue is that these lots are huge. They go back maybe 300 or 400 yards, but when I'm running the numbers on these flips, I'm always conservative to make sure that if I'm over, I don't want to add too much value for a specific piece of the puzzle and then have that piece not be important to other people that are buying it. So for this one, although it had a big lot and although it was a desirable area, I did not know exactly how much weight to put on that, so I was conservative, and again, it paid off. So we bought it for, I believe, $230,000. I had budgeted $50,000. We ended up putting in $100,000. So normally that would be detrimental and kill the whole deal, that all the profits would be gone. But in this market, this neighborhood, it made sense to do it. So total renovation was $100,000, so now we're into it for $330,000. I had originally planned on selling it for $425,000. We ended up listing it for $450,000. We got multiple people interested and ended up accepting an offer for $465,000. So after closing costs, the interest that we paid to our private investors, all of the insurance, taxes, and things that we had for carrying costs along the way, we're netting almost exactly $100,000 on this project, and I couldn't be happier with the way that things went. I'm proud of the team for putting this one together and bringing it to the finish line, and I look forward to doing many more flips like this.